Shouldn't they be interrogating the actual suspect of the assault instead of the victim? Hey, it's Nan, Uplifting Others. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a return subscriber, hey, Uplifters. I seen a post. It really just like blew my mind. So I'm going to see if I can find it. It says, TikToker says a naked man came up to his 2-year-old kid and exposed himself. Police officers said it's not a crime. I later found out that it's not against the law in most parts of Oregon, as long as it's not in a sexual manner. And it just reminded me of how some police officers, when a victim is coming in and they are trying to report their trauma, they turn it around on the victim. Anyone knows that exposing yourself in public, period, can lead to like jail time, to be on the sex offenders list, all that stuff. But someone going up to a child and exposing themselves, and the officer really saying, no, that's not a crime. Sometimes they be a part of the problem. And we wonder why people don't report things that happen, is because they know how it can be like that. Someone doing their job as a parent to protect their child, and they're not going to like lengths of doing it themselves. For those that get it, get it. Someone can protect their kids any means necessary. Whatever that means to whoever, they'll do it. Instead, the person actually called the law, the people that are supposed to protect, and they're saying it's not a crime. That's one instance of the system, the justice system, failing us, period. I don't know the outcome of it. I just seen that little clip and it just like triggered something in me, because so many times we heard stories of police officers minimizing a victim's trauma and making it about them. What was you wearing? What was you doing? Did you leave them? They have I've seen a video on YouTube a while ago, and the officers was interrogating the victim, and it just baffled me, because if it was their child, would they have the same reaction? Would they want something to be done about it, or would they do the same exact thing? What is a detective's job or role when dealing with sexual assault case? I'm going to just read it. Identifying witnesses and suspects. Locating the crime scene if other than the location from which the report was made. Documenting all observations and actions taken. Detailed and comprehensive case files aid in both investigations, and departmental reviews of agency practices. And that really made me think about this movie that I watched. It was like an older movie, and if I could find the name of it, I'll leave it in the description. And she was like 14 or 15. In the movie, the little girl was snatched up from her job at night, and she was snatched up by a serial killer. And like, she pretty much talked her way out of pretty much being murdered. Yes, she was sexually assaulted, but she like was very observant. She had a blindfold on, and of course she didn't know where she was going, but she was very like detailed. Like, when I mean she remembered stuff, like, if I can't explain it, but she knew everything that was going on. Like, she like documented in her head, and she made sure that she remembered, so she would be helpful to her own case. I'm not trying to tell the whole movie, but to sum it up, she made it out. I think like she really talked her way out of it, because he had every intention to do what he do with everyone else, every other victim, is to unalive them. Since she was missing, I forgot how long she was missing, the cops picked her up and took her to the police station to do a proper police report. But her grandmother told the cops or somebody that she was lying about what happened to her, and she probably was out, like trying to deflect because there was some more stuff going on in her household at the time. So when she was telling the detectives everything that she remembered, they were literally questioning her, like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. Maybe you was out and you don't want to get in trouble, so you don't want to tell the real story. And she was adamant, like, I'm telling you what happened. Why don't you believe me? Why nobody believes me? It took for the detectives to speak to someone else, a man, because the two detectives that did not believe her were women. The two women detectives was talking to a man detective and was telling him, like, you know, can you get a crack at her, because I think she's lying about what happened and we don't know how to get to the bottom of it. He went in there and instantly knew that she was not lying after like talking to her for a brief time. And she knew exactly like everything that went on. Like, she told him, and he believes her, and they started an investigation. Come to find out, he was the serial killer. I said all this to say, even if the story sounds crazy to you, and I'm speaking to the police officers, the detectives, if it does not make sense to you, does not mean that it's not real. Doesn't mean that it didn't happen. People experience the unthinkable, and law enforcement have to start doing their due diligence to do right by victims and survivors of sexual assault. Do you know, by you minimizing their trauma can make them not go through with reporting their abuse? That will make other people that are struggling with the same thing about reporting their trauma, make them not want to tell their story or report their trauma. Be mindful of how you say things and what you do. Doesn't matter if you believe the victim or not. Don't show it. Don't say things that can be harmful. It's already enough when someone has been traumatized. But then when they tell you all what happened and no one believes them, and they're laughing and they're joking and they're making little weird comments, that adds on to the trauma. That actually re-traumatize them, and it's never okay. So do right by victims and survivors of sexual assault. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.